Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. Happy Christmas to those of you who celebrate it, happy holidays to those of you who don't, and I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Thank you for spending the time to watch today's episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide, or if you're watching this after Christmas Day, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. Now, today we have come out to take a little bit of a break from our area over there. It's actually that way, I think, south. Yeah, there we go. We've come north to the snow biomes that I found whilst I was looking around on Mine Atlas. These are snowy tundra biomes. There's a cold taiga over there, snowy taiga. There are snowy mountains around here as well. Unfortunately, the Ice Plains Spikes biome, where we get these amazing spires of packed ice, is a lot further north, so I didn't feel like quite going that far just yet. But there's a polar bear over there enjoying his Christmas. Anyway, today I thought to do something a little bit different. We would do basically a comprehensive guide to snow, how snow functions, what you can do with it. Snow in Minecraft is a very magical substance, actually, and I brought a few supplies with me to help us figure out what we can do with snow. But to start off with, let's start with the basics. How does snow actually generate? In biomes like this, it will generate naturally as part of the terrain when the world is first formed. So the snow hasn't had to fall here for it to cover the ground. It covers the ground automatically in these biomes. Likewise, in mountainous biomes, like the one we have near our base, actually, you've seen snow on the hilltops around there quite often. Snow will actually form as part of the terrain. Although some areas of the mountain will not necessarily have snow on them, it totally depends on the elevation at that point. I think it's above Y92 and higher, you start to see snow instead of rain a lot of the time. But you'll find, oh gosh, there's a there's a fire over there. Oh goodness me, we need to go and help out. Need to help out this cold tiger while I explain things. Let's trot across this frozen river and see if we can help the fire for a second. Oh yeah, that's why there's a lava pit there. Well, let's try and save this spruce tree as best we can. I feel like that top block, there we go, is probably going to be the one that's going to stay on fire. All right, let's see if we can pour some water over this and prevent any of the other trees in this area from burning. It's always a shame when you start to see forest burning up like this. I don't want to see the landscape ruined by the lava pits. There we go. Hopefully that should be okay. It looks like this one has generated a ton of stone in it. I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like that may have been just a quirk of terrain generation around here rather than it being part of the tree itself. So let's take down the rest of this tree and hopefully we shouldn't see any more trouble from this lava lake. There might still be a couple of blocks of lava below the surface here, but that seems to be mostly taken care of. So, as I was saying, in regular mountain biomes, as opposed to these snowy mountain biomes that we have around here, you will find that snow only generates above a certain height, and below that it will just be grass. And the same is actually true when it comes to the weather. You've noticed rainfall in Minecraft before, and if you've walked through the colder parts of some biomes, you might have seen snow there as well. Now, I'm actually going to use a command for the first time in this series to trigger the weather, and what we're going to do is we're going to type weather, we're going to auto-complete that, go to rain, and then we'll probably have rain, let's say 100. There we go. And when we set the weather to rain, it turns into snow when you're in a cold biome. So you won't actually experience rain in a snow plains like this. It is pretty much always going to be snow. Whereas if we head out to the ocean around here, once we get past the frozen sections of it, there we go, let's do a quick takeoff. Once we get out to the ocean here, you'll notice that it turns to rain. And weather in Minecraft is global, so it will be raining everywhere except the biomes where it can snow, or the biomes where rain doesn't happen, which are savannas and deserts. The hot biomes like that do not ever see any rain. And in biomes where it can snow, if there is no snow on the ground, the falling snow will actually start to replace the snow layers that were missing. So if we waited long enough here, we would see this patch of snow start to fill back up again very quickly. But in the meantime, I'm going to cover it back over myself so I can show you what happens when you shovel snow. We've done a little bit of this before. We have acquired snowballs for our fight with the dragon, but snow can actually be used for a variety of other things as well. As I may have mentioned in that episode, snow can be used as a weapon against mobs like blazes. So gathering up snowballs is actually a fun thing to do if you want to try and take on some blazes with snowballs as your weapon. There are also things you can craft using snowballs. Oh, there are little rabbits down there. Hi. You can craft these into snow blocks by putting them in a 2x2 interface like so. And with 2 snow blocks and a pumpkin, which we will have to carve, so I'm going to put the pumpkin down and shear it like so, and pick it up again. With 2 snow blocks and a pumpkin, you can make something quite magical. Normally, you would expect a snowman to be made with a bit of coal and a carrot, but instead, We can make a snow golem by adding a pumpkin to 2 blocks of snow. And these guys are what's called utility mobs. We haven't really covered them at all in the game yet. There are 2 types of utility mobs in the game, snow golems and iron golems. And these guys can be led around using leads, if I remember correctly, but for the most part, they don't really do a whole lot by themselves. They will just kind of wander around freely, and everywhere they go, they will spread snow. So if you happen to have a shovel on you, you can actually shovel up the snow behind a snow golem and take it with you. They are a way of generating layers of snow, and they will do this in basically any biome where they can be spawned. They can't be spawned in hotter biomes, though. So if you're talking about the deserts, savannas, and the nether, they will start to take heat damage until they unfortunately die. And this snow golem is looking at me right now, but he's not going to follow me or anything like that. They don't tend to follow you around, which is a shame because they can actually have other uses as far as defending you goes. Snow golems will attack other mobs, and they won't really do so particularly proficiently because then their snowballs won't damage anything aside from blazes, although we'll take a look a little bit later at how you can actually have snow golems attack blazes without worrying about them dying in the heat of the nether. We're going to do that later on in this episode. But when we go over to these mobs over here, you will notice that snow golems actually want to attack hostile mobs to defend you against them. And obviously, snowballs won't do any damage to these zombies because they're not mobs that are affected by cold. Instead, it will just knock them back a few times. The problem with this is that eventually a zombie or a creeper or a skeleton or something like that will attack the snow golem. It will get close enough despite this repeated snowballing. Or perhaps if you end up with a zombie that isn't affected by knockback, and eventually they'll be able to attack the snow golem, which can't really defend itself, and it will die. So you do have to be a little bit careful if you want to keep your snow golems alive. Not only that, but the creeper's way of attacking is by exploding, of course. So if you have a snow golem attacking a creeper, which I will try and simulate by nudging this guy over there to the creeper in the distance, he's actually going to cause a bit of a problem because the creeper's going to walk up and explode because it knows it's under attack from the snow golem. There you go, buddy. Here you go. Have a crack at that guy. He is throwing directly over the creeper right now. I can't believe this. Well, I think the creeper is following me. He's not really paying much attention to the snow golem right now, but yep, okay, I'll try and get at a safe distance. If I get far enough away that the creeper forgets about me and then try and walk back over to where the snow golem is, yep, you can see the creeper is trying to make his way towards the snow golem, and if he gets in too close, he's going to explode and blow up a significant portion of your terrain. Could also damage the snow golems in the process, so you got to be careful with these guys. They're a loose cannon, quite literally. They can be a menace if not properly contained, and if there are creepers around your base and you have snow golems, I don't know, as like shopkeeping staff or something like that, you will often find that the snow golems are more of a problem than they are a solution. Oh, and there we go. He got taken out by the stray. Strays are something that we haven't encountered yet in this series either because they are something that is unique to these snowy biomes. Strays are a variant of skeleton that will shoot arrows of slowness. These are arrows of slowness. You can see the potion particles rising up from them there. And that's actually quite an inconvenience when you're out here in the snowy biome and trying to get away from any of the other mobs that might be out here at night. But they will only spawn exclusively in cold biomes. You won't find them anywhere else in the world. So if you ever want to find strays, this is the place to come. I actually managed to pick up an arrow of slowness from that stray, and we haven't looked into tipped arrows in this series yet, but we'll get into that in another episode because I want to stay focused on snow for today. So right now I'm using my efficiency shovel without silk touch on it to gather up these snowballs, because if you use a silk touch shovel on these layers of snow, you will actually gather up the layers themselves, and layers of snow can't be crafted into snow blocks directly. It's actually more efficient to use snowballs than it is to use snow layers, and I will show you why in just a second. When crafted into snow blocks, you can actually craft the 3 blocks into 6 snow layers like so, and as it turns out, you can actually layer up the snow like so, and it can be more than 1 layer high. We can have anywhere between 1 and 8 layers of snow occupying a single block. And once you turn the full 8 layers of snow into a single block, it actually turns into a block of snow. So if you're shoveling snow with your silk touch shovel, the only way to turn those snow layers back into blocks is to pile up 8 of them and then dig the block with the silk touch shovel. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. that has now become a full block of snow, and I can shovel that and pick a block of snow up. So all you need to do is switch out to a shovel to get regular snowballs, and then you can craft 4 of those into a snow block, and you are getting basically twice as much snow out of that just by crafting snowballs into blocks. You'll also notice that snow starts to melt in high light levels. So if I place a torch down here, as I've done over there, you'll notice the snow nearby starts to melt naturally. Snow does not like to stay around light sources like this, and that is true of any sort of level of snow up until a full block. Full blocks of snow will not melt next to light sources, but if I pile up 6 or 7 layers here, it's still going to melt if it's this close to a light source. One of the best things about snow layers, though, is the level of detail they afford you, because if you're building with these, especially in a snowy, cold biome like this, where you're not going to have as much light sources around and you're not going to risk the snow melting, you can actually get layers like this to pile up around blocks like so, and that's way more detailed than any other kind of block. You'll never be able to do this with something like wood or stone, where you just layer everything up like this. And so snow is kind of unique in that way, and oftentimes you'll find people even retexturing snow to something like sand, for example, so they can create wavier sand dunes, because it is less common for people to build in cold biomes like this. If you want to collect large quantities of snowballs, I actually recommend making a worse shovel than the one I have right now, because this one has efficiency 4 on it, which means it's going to dig up the snow instantly and probably tear through a couple of the grass blocks underneath it. So in order to dig up snow, I've decided to downgrade to a wooden shovel, because right now I only have my Silk Touch pickaxe on me, so I can't make one out of cobblestone. But having a wooden shovel and being able to dig up snowballs individually like this is actually a little bit nicer than digging up a whole bunch of dirt at the same time. For example, if I do this like that, yeah, I'm just digging up huge pockets of dirt with my efficiency 4 diamond shovel. So stick to the wood shovel, grab yourself a bunch of snowballs, and let's go back to the base for a second. On the way back to the base, I'm actually going to pick up a couple of extra pumpkins, because I haven't been growing these at the base yet, so probably a good idea to grab some more. We'll be needing a few snow golems for our next experiments. So up here on the roof of the sugarcane farm, you can actually see that the snow has landed up here because we are above a certain elevation. And was I right about it being Y92? I think I more or less was, because that right there is a snow layer that's forming around Y92. So somehow I remembered that fact. It's a little bit bizarre, but as you'll see, up here in the gravelly mountains above 92, it's starting to snow. But once we get out over to the river biome, you'll notice snow has not settled here, because the river biome doesn't count as cold. Even though it's right adjacent to this gravelly mountains biome, there's a little bit of overlap between the biomes, which means you won't always find snow in places that you expect it to be. But you'll notice the rest of the treetops around here and the rest of the mountain tops are all covered in that faint, thin layer of snow. And you'll notice that dirt blocks actually convert into snow blocks instead of grass blocks when they've got that layer of snow on top of them. So that's something fun to look out for. Now we're going to fly down here and shear the rest of these pumpkins so they become carved pumpkins. It is not possible, by the way, to create a snow golem using a regular pumpkin. They actually have to be carved pumpkins. Let me demonstrate that for you 1 second. There you go. See, that looks like a snow golem to me, but without a face, it does not have the capacity to become a snow golem animated. Then again, if we shear it like so, it instantly becomes a snow golem. There you go. And here's another fun fact. If you shear it again, the pumpkin comes off, and you get this slightly more traditional snowman-looking guy. And you'll notice what this snowman is already doing is spreading snow around the local area, which, if you were keen to farm it, you could basically just dig straight up off the ground again, and you could get snowballs for days. Now, the fun thing people tend to do with these snow golems is actually trap them within a certain area where they can keep producing snow the entire time. Now let's grab a few stone blocks and see if we can encase this one, but if we can't, then we can always spawn another one inside one of these little stations like so. Now the problem right now is that he's in a gravel hills biome, and we've actually spawned him in and left him to roam over a block of gravel. So unfortunately, this might be a little bit tricky. But here's something you can try at home. If you want to get infinite snowballs, look at the snow layer here, try and look towards this block of stone that we placed over there, and hold down left click. And that is a snowball farm right there, especially if we're doing this with an efficiency shovel. Now, all we need to do is jump up there, and if our inventory was at all clear, which it currently isn't, let me see if I can find a chest to dump some of this stuff in. There we go. We can grab all of those snowballs, and we're collecting a fair amount of them. Now, obviously, you need to be pretty careful not to accidentally hit the snow golem because they are fragile creatures. They don't tend to last very long if they get hit with weapons and so forth. So some people even use pistons to push them into one place to make sure that they don't move super far. But that is actually grabbing us a whole bunch of snowballs, and that is a way you can farm snow permanently. So if you want to build with a huge amount of snow blocks, then that's a good idea. Now, it's worth noting that in some of these biomes, snow golems will actually die in the rain. So if it's in a biome where it is likely to rain, like this one, it is very important that you make sure your snow golem's head is covered up. And this can seem a little bit barbaric, because here he is trapped in this, this stone box with nowhere else to go, but it is the only way to farm snow in this large quantities and this efficiently. Bear in mind that this will also decrease the durability of your shovel very quickly, so just be careful of not breaking your efficiency really good shovels on on digging up all of this snow all at once. Of course, with 4 snowballs per snow block and snowballs only stacking up to 16, you will find that it doesn't generate a huge amount of snow right away. But in time, you can have a full stack of snow and beyond, and you can make as many snow golems as you want at that point, which can cover the entire landscape in snow. And often, if people are decorating for the winter and Christmas time, you'll find that people just leave a bunch of snow golems in one area, allow them to spread, and then they will have a winter wonderland by the time they're done. Now, snow blocks themselves are also quite nice to build with, for the very simple reason that having the extra snow layer kind of capacity affords you to be able to make custom sort of size stairs and slabs for these kind of things. Like, you can have a very gradual sloping staircase in a build like so. If you wanted to make a path, for example, up to somewhere, and you didn't mind the fact that it looked a little bit snowy, then you could very easily make a very gradual sloped path out of the stuff. And as long as you're not going to light it too close, because of course the snow layers would melt, and then you would just have a series of flat snow blocks. I've also seen people do some incredible modern builds with these, just using snow layers to kind of make a very fine line around the outside of a build, and then using snow blocks as walls, because it actually fits in quite well with this kind of Tudor style of building, where you've got the snow layers taking the place of the wall blocks that we have in the build over there. If you can imagine a few extra blocks like so, if we pop those in like that, and then, yeah, this is a pretty standard kind of flat white wall. Obviously, the snow does look a little bit blocky. That repeating texture kind of gives away the fact that it is kind of tiled like that. But even so, it's not bad as a block choice. You could do a lot worse. It's also quickly worth noting that if you break a snow block with anything aside from a silk touch shovel, you are just going to get snowballs back. So unless you want snowballs from that, remember to use your silk touch shovel on the blocks themselves. Now, for the last section of today's video, we're going to take our splash potions of fire resistance, we're going to head to the nether, and we're going to try and snowball some blazes. Now, we're going to do this in a couple of different ways. First of all, I've got a few snowballs myself that I can use as a weapon against the blazes, but I'm also going to give the snow golems themselves a chance for revenge. Narrowly avoiding a hit by the ghasts in the process. There we go. Let's pop down into here, and let's get our snowballs at the ready, because we're about to take on the double blaze spawner once again. Haven't been back here for a little while, as you can tell, because I've only got 9 levels right now. But once we're within range, you'll see the blazes start to spawn here. I'm only going to activate one of the spawners right now, because this could be a little bit tricky otherwise, but I wanted to give the snow golems a chance in just a second to take on a couple of blazes. Hopefully we don't get too many spawning in here, but as you can see, those are actually taking damage. It's more than just knockback with these guys. It is actually doing a little bit of damage to them, because they are fire elementals. They are taking damage directly from the snowballs here. Now, obviously, it's not as much damage as you're going to be able to do with the sword, but they are the only mobs that you are able to kill with snowballs, which is pretty exciting. It's something a little bit different, something that most people probably won't want to try, but it's fun for a laugh. And I'm going to do my best to clear out the blazes from this spawner for a second, because I want to try spawning in a snow golem and then splashing him with a potion of fire resistance so that he doesn't take any more damage from the heat here in the nether, and he can actually fire snowballs back at these blazes. I'm going to reconstruct the nether brick fence around here so that the blazes themselves can't get to them, because the blaze melee attack, they still have a melee attack, will actually kill the snow golem, but once it's got fire resistance on, The fireballs themselves, which do exclusively fire damage, won't be able to touch them. Now, I've got to be very, very quick about this. So we'll have our splash potion at the ready here. I'll pop down a couple of snow blocks, and basically as soon as we spawn the snow golem in here, we're going to have to splash them with fire resistance. So there we go. There we go, and now he's stopped taking damage, and once he sees the blazes over there, he's going to start firing snowballs at them. Now, obviously, this is going to draw the blazes aggro, but anytime the snow golem actually gets hit by fire, he's going to burn, and that's going to last for 8 minutes, which is the duration of the splash potions of fire resistance we brought with us to the nether. Unfortunately, while this might look like a great way of farming blaze rods or experience, you don't get either from the snow golems killing the blaze by himself. Sadly, it is not possible to get either drops or experience from blazes this way, so while having a snow golem with fire resistance around might be great for assistance, when you're fighting blazes, you'll need to go in for a player kill to get XP and drops. And eventually that fire resistance effect is going to run out on both myself and the snow golem, and at that point we will be in deep trouble. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, he has just died, and it was a fun time. It was good to actually bring a snow golem here and do that, because I've not done that for a while, and I'm pretty sure the last time I did it, you could still get blaze rods from them. But there you go. I've learned something in today's episode, and I hope you guys have as well. Obviously, it's not really possible to apply snow to the nether with snow golems, but you can actually still place snow blocks and snow layers in here. As long as they're not too close to light sources, the snow layers will stick around, and I've decorated some really fun nether tunnels like this before. It's basically impossible to tell that it's the nether at that point. But there we go, folks. We're ending this episode in a bit of a strange place, considering that we're talking all about snow, and here we are in the nether. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for spending your Christmas watching the Minecraft Survival Guide, and if it wasn't on Christmas, then thank you for watching anyway. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.